There's also another journalist who likes to talk about when I say prehistoric, I mean pre-written history.
Yes.
The gentleman's name is Graham Hancock, and he's been a lightning rod for uh, people in the geological fields because he says basically that there's signs that there was a uh, advanced civilization on the earth that got wiped out either from the flood or from the last ice age. And he says all these monuments all around the earth with all the different civilizations, they all came up with the same sort of pictures and their pictographs. And like the mound builders, you had mound builders that were building the same exact things in North America that was in South America, and a fascination with snakes. Pretty
Yeah.
much, there's snakes on all of the pictographs in all of the different uh, artifacts or features or whatever you want to call them. He says that he believes these were built a longer time ago, and that as time went on, those people or beings got wiped out. And then what happens? The same thing that happens here with us. I live in a house that had two other families that lived in it before me. So if you've got a building sitting there that's been there and you come and stumble upon it, you're probably going to use it. It's a good place to set up shop. I mean, just like the city of Jericho that in the Bible says that was the horns blew the walls down. I mean, they,
Yeah.
they see signs that Jericho has been rebuilt, rebuilt, rebuilt. People tend to go back to the places where they were before because usually those were good places to live. That's
Yeah.
why they were there in the first place. So in the town I live right now, we've got a mound, and in 5 minutes I could go down there, and it's a big, huge, giant mound, a big, huge circle, and it's set up to fit with the solstice and that sort of thing. And they say there's no remains in this mound, but all the little signs around there say that these were built by so and so Indians like 1,300 years ago. That's their best evidence because they know those Indians lived here. But maybe that mound was built 100,000 years ago. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the
I think they
Indians that
were.
lived there 1,300 years ago, they stumbled on it and they chose to live here because it offered protection, or it seemed important. And
Yes.
since it seemed important, then they figured it was holy. And since they figured it was holy, they did their ceremonies there. But people reject this Graham Hancock. He goes on Joe Rogan as well and talks about these things. They basically say he's a kook and he's putting two and two together and he's getting five. What do you think about this, Mike, and Tim too, and how it fits with this lost history of possibly there being giants or angels living on the earth?
Well, the Indians in Ohio, like the Serpent Mound, they claim that the mounds were here when they got here. So when anybody says native, what native are you talking about? I think that they're playing a game with words, because we think of natives as the Indians. Well, the Indians, from what we know, they came across the land bridge from Russia to Alaska and moved down, and then, as time went on, they became separate tribes, and then the Europeans came over and took over. So we think of the indigenous people as American Indians. Well, they look at it as when we got here, those mounds were here. But the governments, they want you to think that they don't want you digging either. They don't want you digging. Oh, that's a sacred burial ground. You can't dig in there. Well, we might find something that they don't want us to find because they like to push the anti biblical Darwinism worldview, and that is that there's no God. So if you can prove that there's giant bones, you're proving the Bible. They don't want that.